From Clarksville, Tennessee to Fort Irwin, California. From Lubbock, Texas to Palm Harbor, Florida. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, Talkin Truckin with Deaton and Doty. How's it going, guys?
Doing great.
Good to have you back, Christian. How was vacation?
Well, it was great. It wasn't like a planned absence. I pulled a Doty. I got sick with the case of the Doties. But yeah, it was great. Vacation was great. I'm a little bit tan, but I put a lot on so I don't look like a cherry when I get back.
Yeah.
But yeah, vacation was great.
Like Joel.
How about you? You got your vacation shirt on. I see that.
I do, yeah. It's my Gabagool shirt. That's what we called it today in the office.
Good.
Yeah. How about you guys? How was your 4th of July weekend, Kumar?
It was good. Went to our friend Skylar's and had a pretty nice bonfire.
Yeah.
Hung out there. Well, I guess there wasn't a bonfire, but
how
fireworks.
Tinder rejections over the weekend.
Still high. Still high.
Through the roof.
Yeah, basically through the roof.
So what'd you do in Michigan?
I just rented out a cabin.
Did some hiking?
Yeah, well, I actually didn't do any hiking. I basically hung out on the water.
Yeah.
My mom and her husband got a pontoon.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I just basically hung out on the beach in the water and read the whole time, and that's about it, really. I went to Traverse City. I don't know if anybody's been to Traverse City here, but that was pretty cool. Did some shopping.
That's right up there by the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really pretty up there. And there's bears.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've never seen one. But
You didn't see any there then?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nope.
They're all over up there.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah. We got a picture of a bear near Traverse City in a river. We'll show you a little later in the show. Mm-hmm. So joining us this week on the show, as always, Christian Sneed from the Dawson Fleet. Ray, Jim Mackey, and Mark Chavez are with us this week. They'll battle Kumar in Questions with Kumar. Joel with Wide World of Sports. Trucking News with Ian Dunlap. And then we'll take the show out with our 3 drivers, Jim Mackey, Ray, and Mark. So, Christian, you want to dive into a couple of things that you got going on with your guys this week?
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. Obviously, guys are all over the map. I'll do a shared screen here, but they're all over the map mostly because you kind of can't go wrong. So, you see everything?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You can see how I'm fondling around and don't know where I'm going. Okay, good. So, obviously, we're going to measure everything just on the week, on the billable week, which would be from Wednesday to Tuesday by delivery. So this is a 1-week period. The first one up, driver's Eric Pafanis. He's out of Michigan. So he came out of his house. He lives up there more towards the nursery side than the Detroit side. Came down to Salem, Virginia. We had a load that was on our yard that had to get 100 miles up the road. He dropped that off. It had really good money in it. Up to Lyndhurst, Virginia. Then he went down and reloaded into Carolina. Then reloaded back in Effingham, South Carolina, back to LaGrange, Georgia. Then he went, had some time off, requested to get a couple things. Basically, he wanted to make sure that he had 9 fingers instead of 10 on the 4th of July weekend. Reloaded and went back on up towards Wisconsin. So his total revenue, gross revenue, was $65.50. I was a little short, but obviously we had 4th of July weekend, and he was partaking in some activities and hanging out. So occupancy-based revenue, he occupied the days 5 days out of 7 and did 122% of his goal. And here we go. This should show up. Bill Phelan. Bill Phelan's a company driver. He's in on every weekend. He also takes some holidays off as well. So his occupancy was down to 57 because he took an extra day for the holiday. Still grossed $61.88. He still did a couple $100 above his gross revenue target, 160% of his target. But obviously he only occupied the truck 57% of the time. Bill runs a lot of this area here. He runs a lot of Ohio, the kind of the south northeast and the mid-Atlantic, and touches a little bit of the southeast. But this is really kind of his sweet spot because we do get him home every week, and he's been with us for about 7 years. So great guy, great attitude. Keeps the left door shut and puts a smile on his face every day. I mean, we're really blessed to have him. But he went to Ohio, to West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and then back to Roanoke, Virginia, and Marion as well, and that's where he ended up. And then Marion, Indiana is where he finished. Terrell Brown, so he had a great week. I know we've had a couple dispatch communication issues in the previous week, and that's something that Amanda and he are figuring out pretty well. But he was in Roanoke, sat down, they had a great conversation. Had customer freight with a company right up the road. It's duct work. It's not but 3,000 to 5,000 pounds typically. It's a drop trailer situation. Went up there to Norman in Illinois, then over to basically Wisconsin, reloaded out to Ohio, and then he finished where I guess it's kind of be the Russ Deaton angle here, where you take a run and you run all the way up to Maine. But he enjoyed it. He had a really good week. He's going to have a really good paycheck. 100% occupancy, 119% of his goal.
Yeah, Maine.
Charles
I mean,
he's a gentleman. What's that?
Before you get on to him,
Yeah,
Maine. It seems like you can always get the money going in, and lately it's not been bad coming out. I mean, so I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid when it is bad coming out, but as long as you get it going in. But it's not been too bad.
Yeah, get it going in, you're fine. And if you do struggle coming out, let us know. Our customer out of Ohio sends us up there every Monday, so we've cultivated some relationships up in that area. So if that's something, it's not 45,000 pounds of water either. You're not going to Poland Springs. So Charles Zennerman, great guy. Driver's been with us for a couple months. He's out of Ohio, so he ended up delivering into Groveport, Ohio, from our customer from Pennsylvania into Groveport back out to Hammond, Indiana. From there, he did a drop that went down to Zanesville, which is not categorized properly on the maps here. And then he also went up to Lee, Mass. And then his follow-up loads were there as follows. He had 100% occupancy, 93% of his goal. He did run the whole week, and he fell just short. 6,300 is not a bad check to run at, but at the same time, when guys are hitting $7,000 and $9,000 and $10,000, or like this one, like Tim Hanley, he's from California. He came out of Yakima, Washington. I don't know why that looked back like that. Yakima, Washington, over to Nebraska, then Minnesota and Pennsylvania. Pretty easy run.
Is he a reefer?
Nope, he is a dry van. Yeah, so he's a dry van. $8,050. Great week, and good run for the driver too. He's not stuck in traffic all day or anything else. So making a 3-drop delivery week as opposed to 5 really does let you reset your hours and things, and get your schedule straight.
The fly is back, Kumar. Every week.
You can hear him this time.
What do you, Mike Pence?
Yeah.
So there's Justin. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So, speaking of Yakima, Tom's doing well. Everybody, by the way, but he's slowly getting back at things. And Jesse, our driver Jesse, was down in Arizona, and Tom got him a load from Arizona, 1,400 miles, and he's reefer, $7,000 up to Tacoma, and then I took it from there. We deadheaded him over to Yakima. That's why I was asking you if your guy was a reefer, and it was in Yakima.
Yeah.
But we got $10,000 on over to New Jersey from there on a load of cherries. So those cherries are kicking out there, and I mean, honestly, you can name your price, depending on where you're going with it, but they're begging for trucks.
I'll have to pull that up on FreightWaves next week.
Yeah.
Check and see what the rejections and all are, if there's still two.
Approximately 900 outbound loads a week in that area.
Yeah, that's getting it.
That's a lot of freight. So anyway, go your next guy you were going to go over.
Yeah. So next guy that I've got is Charles Jones. Charles Jones dispatches himself. He's a rock and roller. He flat out told me he's the LeBron James of trucking. And he is. I mean, he came in, wild personality, love him to death, high energy. And this is the run that he put together. So he did go from Idaho to drop heavy on to Miami to kind of run a $6,400 week to start. But he did 11,350, and he finished up his week last week pretty strong too, just based on how he ran himself. But he went down to Georgia, Florida, came up. We didn't play in that area much this week at all. So, but he decided that's what he wanted to do, and he put the miles behind it and had a banging week. And you can see Even with having his reset from Sunday to Tuesday on the drop with an 86% occupancy, he still did 204% of his goal.
Yeah.
So, and those guys that self-dispatch, and it's difficult sometimes, but they do know what's best for themselves if they've been cultivated and sharpened.
We have
I know
few.
Jim and I were talking before the show a little bit about that too, on how you and I will discuss the shorter runs sometimes to reset the hours and make the most of the finishing of a week. And Jim brought up a really good point with, if you do stretch your miles and you can push more miles per day and a higher gross revenue. Now, your cent per mile, as we discussed, might be a little bit less because of the distance, as you mentioned. But, you'll make up for it in those extra 150, 200 miles a day that you're running.
Yeah. And that's when we were talking about that with Jim earlier. Jim Mackey does like to run a little bit longer. That's how I used to run too. It just seemed like, and don't get me wrong, I love booking a load you can pick up this morning and deliver in tomorrow morning. You can get a great rate per mile. You can try and maximize the revenue for the day. But you're also spending, every day you're on a dock, and every now and then what's going to happen. You're going to get detained somewhere.
Yeah. It's going to be $150 a day, right?
Yeah, and it's
truck order not
happens.
used. Something's going to happen.
Something happens, and it's just. I'm not saying one's right or wrong. It's just kind of how how a driver likes to do it, and that's how Jim likes to do it. He'd rather go long. And
there is a good peace of mind for the drivers too when you do have the longer runs. You can plan your day out, you can plan your stops out. You understand that you're not scrambling for a parking spot. You can plan it ahead of time.
Yeah, I used to love to get up and start at 3-4 o'clock in the morning when I was on the road, and I did a lot of coast to coast, so it worked. And you can get into a truck stop at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, easy to park. You got no problems finding parking. You're not waiting. You can go right in the shower because there's no line. So there's an advantage to that. But you got any others to go over, and we can get into some of the other market stuff that you're going to talk about in a second.
Yeah, that's those are the guys that I brought up here. We did have some other self-dispatching guys that were doing the same thing, 665 on a holiday week. I think the one thing to take away is it's nice to know that you can have a $600 to $7,500 a week on a holiday.
Yeah.
We had a couple guys that did drop on Saturday and double down on the weekend, which is, as you know, is risky business.
Really risky.
If you do it right on a holiday weekend, it can really make out, because you might be that one truck that 3PL or broker or customer is looking for. And if
somebody
that's the case, then it's a home run. Yeah. It's a home run.
Yeah. And I always talk about it. Our biggest fear, I don't want anybody to get stuck on the holiday weekend. And Shannon on our fleet, it started, was it Friday? I think it was Friday. There was a bracket for his brake chamber. The truck was running fine, and it wasn't like he didn't have brakes, but the bracket was broke. I talked to Cody in safety about it, and I agreed with Cody and Stacy that at any time he could lose his brake. And with all the people on the road for the holiday weekend, we decided together with Shannon that we can't take that chance. So we shut it down. The problem was we thought we were going to get a part, and he might get stuck over the weekend, but be ready to go after the holiday. They couldn't get a part till this morning, so he was stuck. Luckily, he did have a load. We've been in good communication with them. Luckily, it was just rolls of paper, so it wasn't anything critical. It was in a dry van, so we locked it up. We left the truck there at the shop, and they ordered the part. It did come in today, and he did get fixed. But he got stuck, and he lost all those days. And Shannon was just at home not that long ago, so he didn't want to be down. He was ready to run, and he stays out a long time, and then takes 4 or 5 days off. But so he got stuck. So we came up with a plan, Austin and Shannon and I. Shannon has a friend that was about 4 hours away who he wanted to go spend a little time with. And I said, Shannon, let's rent a car. And so we threw in with him. I mean, it doesn't it hurts that when you lose money and you're down, but the Deaton fleet, we told him we'll throw in with you on the car rental, and it helped. And he was happy. I mean, he got to spend some time with a close friend of his for the whole holiday weekend, and we talked, and he brought the car back this morning. He's at the truck now. So that was the only one that got stuck, right, Ian? I believe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only one stuck for us this weekend. A couple guys, before we get into what you're seeing in the market, Christian, a couple guys. Mike Doty's on vacation. He's on a fishing excursion with his brother, so I took care of. We kind of spread his guys around in here, and he was gonna try and be on the show, but they're right down there where that hurricane is, and we don't know if he's doesn't have power or what's going on. But I didn't think he was gonna make it. So I took care of Lee. Lee really was. Mike had him pretty much set up until today, and then he was in Oklahoma City. There was a customer load, but it was a really good paying load, but it wasn't ready. So I sent him down to Laredo this earlier today, 1750 on 550. So he'll be empty in the sometime in the morning in Laredo. It's 8 to 4 window. He'll probably be there before noon, and then we'll get something really good coming out of Laredo tomorrow. Or it depends on what time he delivers, but tomorrow or Friday, and get him up either into North Florida or Georgia. He's got to get through the house. AJ was at home for the holidays. I think AJ was home since last Friday. He does stay out a long time, but he said he was ready to come out Thursday, and I put a load on him, 6,800 on 2,200 miles, 15,000 pounds. He's a flatbed. South Carolina to Salt Lake City, and that's a project that's been going on. They're redoing the airport, I guess, and so they're bringing a lot of what he's hauling is like the bus terminals where you would stand and to keep you out of the weather in a walk, an area where a bus would pick you up. So they're putting that on the flatbed, strap and go, easy load, really nice paying load. So that'll get AJ back on track there for the week he had off, 68 on 22.
Nice.
And I mentioned earlier, Christian, about Yakima and the Cherries, $10,000 on 2,700 miles to Jersey. What were you going to say?
No, we had a similar situation. We had one that was coming out of Nebraska going up to Mass for like 78, and we had another one going to Jersey. It was like $6,000, $6,000, something there from Nebraska. So, yeah, I mean it's just on fire out there. I'd hate to be a shipper having to pay for product to get it moved.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, and then Ray. So, can you throw up the screen share on what we did with Ray?
Yeah.
So Ray was up this way before the holiday, and I found a load. It wasn't the greatest paying load, but it was decent. He was in Pennsylvania, and I needed to get him back down, over the weekend, I figured. And this didn't deliver till this morning. But Ray's route was Tyrone, PA to New Braunfels, which is right near his house in north of San Antonio. 3,300 on about 1,600 miles, I believe it was. And he was able to get home for the holiday with the load and then go stay home a couple days and deliver that this morning. And then Ray left the house in San Antonio, delivered the load. And this time we deadheaded down to Laredo. There was a load going from Laredo to Lordstown, but before he picked it up, we got a picture of Ray down in Laredo hanging out in the Rio Grande in the inner tube.
No Photoshop.
Is that a fish in his mouth?
What's that?
Is that a fish in your mouth, Ray?
And we didn't know there was bears in Laredo, but Ray was doing some sightseeing, floating in the river while he was waiting to get his truck loaded. So then anyway, Laredo, Texas to Lordstown, PA, 5,250. About the same.
Say Ohio. I don't know. I put PA.
Oh yeah, it's right here, Lordstown, Ohio. It's about the same miles, probably 1,500 miles, I think. And it was really light. It's home goods, so it was probably 8,000 or 10,000 pounds. So that was a pretty decent Friday to Friday. Yeah. Be last Friday. He'll deliver in Lordstown this Friday, and he got home for a day and a half for the holiday. So that's what I did with Ray this week. I took a couple notes on the market this week, Christian, and you and I can get into it. I give the van, reefer, and flatbed average, national average rate. Did fuel go up, or was it the same this week? 39 cents.
It was the same.
Same. So fuel surcharge.
Yeah, but it just didn't hit it, but it went up 3 cents.
Oh, okay. But the van load to truck ratio went up 3.7%. The reefer load to truck ratio went up 3.9%. So it's still growing. There's more loads than there were last week to a truck. And then flats continuing to go down, 17.9% drop. Still a lot of loads though.
That's still up though. It's up like 170 year over year, right?
Yeah, it's still way up there. Yeah. And we're still seeing the rates are really good still on the flats. I also wanted to go over a couple things that we've been leaving out each week. So, Christian, I didn't get it. You were on vacation, so we got the information from Nikki, who won the CB, and it was Keith Andorf. So we combined both of our fleets, and whoever had the highest safety, was that Netrodyne? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Netrodyne. Yep, camera safety system. Yep.
For the gaming system on the camera, and that was Keith Andorf. He was by far. He was ahead of everybody, and all month long. So even before the beginning of June, Keith's a really good guy. So we called him, we let him know that it's here, and he'll be in probably next week or shortly after. We'll get him that CB. Ian can pick it up, or we can order it on Amazon. Also, the fishing contest is still going strong, so. Anybody that has some fishing pictures, if you went fishing, I know Nikki Bloom and Rodney, and Nikki's one of our dispatchers. They're fishing every week, so continue to send those in. You can enter more than once. Tell your son that, Christian. I know he likes to fish. Let's keep sending them.
Find him on Fish Brain all day long.
Yeah. When's the last day of summer? Did anybody know? Is that the beginning of September?
September 21st.
September 21st. So that's when the contest ends, and that's going to be a really nice. 250 or 350. We'll figure it out. I think it was 250 is what we said at Dick's Sporting Goods, Gander Mountain, Cabela's, whatever the winner chooses. Also, I wanted to mention the Yanqing port. I like the way Ian said it a few weeks ago. Better. You want to try that again, Ian? No. The Yanqing port in China has noticeably improved,
Massachusetts,
but still a log jam of containers and ships. These delays could impact the peak holiday shipping season. They're talking about stuff around Christmas time. They still may be impacted by the backlog from them shutting down for 2 weeks. So, but they are moving things. They're just backed up with containers and trying to get through it. That's what I read today. So, what do you think, Christian? What have you been seeing in the market?
Well, in the market, DAT talks about how the spot load post month over month is down 6% and 9% for the week. And I find it interesting that even though the load posts are down on both truck and loads, that we still have an increase in percentage of loads to truck per van. Yeah. So, when you start talking about supply and demand, well, if they're both decreasing but not at the same rate, it can still play in our benefit.
Right.
From a posting from who's actually working inside the spot market. I'm not seeing the trends that they're showing month over month on losses on loads to truck equating to revenue. Our cent per mile month over month is up just over 3% on the cent per mile, and the gross revenue at 4%, which that's a great gain month over month, especially when the indicators tell us that spot rates really haven't changed much. On the van or the flatbeds or the reefer side, excuse me. We know where the flatbed is, and that's not atypical. But I just don't see that our dispatch capability and our customer capability matches what's out there. Which is a good thing. That when the market starts to settle down a little bit, that everything else still seems to be picked up. Are you guys seeing the same thing on your end?
Pretty much. Our revenues continue to climb. Our cent per mile. We do have a lot of guys that run long, so our cent per mile, I see the like when we have meetings with Nikki every other week, and she'll let us know with, you guys probably see it too. Our cent per mile, your cent per mile. I think Arlo's is on there. We're always a little bit lower than you guys, and I think it's just because of our length of haul. But
it's how you run.
But it is up, and it's not. It's continuing to grow. So,
one thing I think it might be people becoming comfortable with the rates that they have. That $1,700 next day is great. I mean, we just believe if you can get 17, why can't you get 24?
Right.
And there's going to be a heck of a re-education downstream if this ever does correct itself in an immediate fashion, as opposed to over time. But we're still seeing it's kind of a name your rate. As long as you make enough calls and you invest enough time into making sure you put the work in, your guys will be rewarded for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's going to be. This has been going on for so long now. It's really hard for me to wrap my head around. We went through a tough freight market. All of us did a few years ago, and it's going to be hard for us or anybody to take some of the rates we had to run for, and we made it and we did it, and these drivers are still with us, and they made a little money, but I mean, it's going to be hard for any carrier to enter into contracts or to accept rates like that again. In my opinion, you need the mix of both, but this is a good time to be in trucking for sure.
Yeah, in the bad times, you really get to appreciate where we're at now. Not that you ever want to be in them again, but you really get to appreciate the fires that you lived through. I was talking to a guy that's been with us about 5 years and almost 6 years now, and he ended up saying, hey, this weekend I need a 34-hour reset. I said, okay, great. It's a holiday Monday. We can have somebody, we can charge somebody to sit it till Tuesday. And he ended up talking to a load planner in my office and said, hey, I need to go through Jackson, Mississippi. So we've cut off 60%, 70% of the U.S. map on a weekend that you weren't planning to be home. He's going to be home on the 17th for his fiance's birthday. So he's going to take a couple of days off in the middle of the week. I said, well, I talked to him today. I said, why did we go home? He's like, well, just because we needed a 34-hour reset. So we could have done that anywhere on the road. I said, was going home worth $2,500 to $3,500 of revenue for an additional 500 miles? He said, what? I said, let me explain what happens. When we cut that much of the map off, and remember I was giving you the Nebraska run earlier, 7,200 or 78, whatever it was. That was one of the loads that he had declined. And then he declined another one for about $6,500. Now, he still had a $3,800 weekend, and he was happy with it at the time based off the time that he had and getting to spend time with his fiance, and I'm all about it. But I said, so we took that time, and we preached the 85% occupancy. And he understands it now. And he said, well, I'm good on money. I said, well, how good are you? And not to give figures, but it was less than $25,000 in his savings. And I said, my comfort when I owned a single truck was a $25,000 bank account, right? Which said that it didn't matter what happened to that truck, that I was not having, get it, Russ?
That fly.
You get that fly. I see you. That fly is getting you.
We had a storm roll through here, so we had the door propped open. It was, because it's been hot here and it cooled off real quick, and that fly got in and sure is. He's going to bother us during the show.
It's funny because it wasn't on until we said go. Right when the camera went, the fly came in. It's funny. But so I was talking to him and said, how much is enough? And we had the Rockefeller Rule, which is just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And he said, look, I get it. I said, whether it's, your truck is paid off or not, you still want to grow that nest egg. And I said, you got to make hay when the sun shines. And you mentioned it about a month and a half ago. Hey, it's not that we don't want you to take home time, but there are better seasons to take it where you can take more time and still make more money. Yeah. Now, if you have planned vacations, take them. If you have time off during this time of year, take it. But be very vigilant about, and very disciplined, because it becomes very easy to be comfortable and say, hey, I've got $7,000 or $10,000 in the bank. I can kind of take my foot off the throttle. Well, your truck goes down for 2 or 3 weeks for whatever reason, because parts are on back order and it does take longer to get things around. All of a sudden, your nest egg starts slimming up.
Sure. And I always say your equipment costs don't stop. They do not stop when you're, when you're not moving. So, and if you, if you look at it like, okay, if I'm out of 7 days, if I only moved 4, divide your equipment cost by 7 and then divide it by 4. That's how I look at it. It costs you a lot more that way.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
So, There was Lee. I mentioned him. I just sent him down to Laredo, and I know we're going to get something really good out of there. But like you said, you got to make the hay when the sun's shining. This is the time.
Yep.
When the rates are at the top, and Lee's like that. He, I asked him before we went down to Laredo. I said, all right, I'm filling in for Mike for him while he's gone, and I said, do you need me to run you through the house? Or he said, yeah, I do need to run through the house to get some medicine and stuff, but no, just keep me running. And he's got that attitude. He knows it's out there and he's going to get it. So, and then, I think there's something coming up with his wife. So we do have to get him home for that and for a couple of days. And that's obviously those kind of things you got to go home and take care of. But, or, a planned vacation. I get it. But, yeah. That's where Jesse, we hauled a load of cherries last week for $8,900 out of the same place, going to the same place, basically. We hauled one for $10,000 this week. And I got more trucks headed out that way. If that price keeps going up, I'll keep sending them out there.
That's right. 12.5. Let's keep it up.
Yeah. Let's go.
It's all profit at that point.
Let's ride.
12.5.
Yeah. So, Christian, you got any more? Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you about. I had a friend call us the other day and ask about, I had him on speaker in here about tender rejections in Louisiana. And I know Kumar hasn't been down to Louisiana, so he really doesn't know if there's how the tender rejections are down there. But I told him, I said, I don't know. Actually, I don't really have any trucks near there right now. And this was yesterday, I think, right, Zach? Yeah, when he called.
When Charlie called?
Yeah. Yeah. And I did send him some information that I dug up, and that whole area is pretty hot. But I was curious. Have you seen anything about Louisiana and tender rejections?
I haven't. I can pull it up. I'll try to pull it up while we're doing it as we go through the news and other things, and I can try to do a live screen share of that as well. And maybe I'll see if I can get it regionalized and just not by the state, so you know where to land. But no, I have not pulled up. But that whole area is, it has been very good the last 45, 60 days. Continuing to trend upward. So
that whole southeast is just, from what I'm reading, it's going to just continue to get hotter. And I don't mean temperature, but also this tropical.
That too, though.
Yeah, the tropical storm that moved through the Elsa, and Ian may give us an update on that. But I was reading today that the ports in, I think Panama City, maybe Jacksonville, around Florida, that north, both sides of Florida, I think those ports are, I forget what they call it, but the port master shuts it down so vessels cannot move even in the port till the storm goes through. And they were saying that's going to backlog it again. And you're going to have just another addition to the capacity crunch, as soon as that, and that storm is moving out right now. So
yeah,
Jacksonville.
Yeah. Did you see that eye of fire over in the Gulf of Mexico?
No, I didn't. What's that?
Yeah, so there's I don't know what kind of gas it was, but it's basically just fire and water.
There was a spill.
I don't have a great explanation of it.
So was there a spill or something in the water that?
Yeah, apparently something, methane gas or something caught fire, and because there's so much air from the fire, they can't get the ships buoyant enough to get to it or what. I'm not sure how they're going to put it out or if they already have, but if you ever just check out the images, it's pretty wicked when you see it online. It looks like something on like a Doomsday Tactical or a Doomsday kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow. I'll have to check that out. Joel.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into some sports. There's been some pretty cool stuff going on this week.
Are we going Suns or Bucks before we start this?
Are we doing sports?
Yeah, I'm gonna say sports. I got to go with the Suns.
Same.
In 4.
All right. Sports world.
Suns in 4.
Yeah, let's go, Joel. Wide world of sports with Joel Howle.
You know he picked Brady Mickelson last night.
Yeah,
too,
so the match was on. Did you see that, Christian?
We'll get to that.
No.
So it was what Ryan Spoonmore. That's one cough.
Well, thank you.
Ryan Spoonmore mentioned when he was on the show about the match, and I think it's Big Sky. It was Tom Brady, Phil Mickelson, versus Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau, however you say his name. So it was on last night, and that's all I wanted to do is watch that. It was really fun to watch.
I didn't know it was on 6 hours.
Joel,
Hey, Joel,
I know it was long.
Can you put the mic in front of your face?
It was good though.
Hasn't it been
So
like that?
Joel texted me and he said, "Who do you want to go with?" So we bet lunch, and I took Brady and Mickelson, and they lost. So I am not good at winning bets. Any of you guys?
I
No,
don't
but
know
you're
about
good
that.
at taking them, and I appreciate
Yeah, I'll
it.
take
As long as it's not football.
Yeah, well, football I follow a little closer. But anyway, let's go. What's going on
All
in
right,
the wide world of sports, Joel?
So I don't know about the world, but here in the U.S., over to the NBA Finals. Russ, you picked the Suns. Did I hear you right?
That's who I'm going with. Yeah.
And how many?
Let's go for $50.
Not.
Oh, I thought
Like,
Just
okay.
bought a truck. Hey. All right. I'm going to say Phoenix in 6. Last night, game 1 in the Valley. Phoenix took a 1-0 lead with a 118-105 victory over the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks got Giannis back. Apparel didn't do him too much good. But game 2 is tomorrow night in the Valley. Over to the NHL. Tampa Bay with a 3-1 lead over the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal could have swept the series and ended up winning in overtime last night. I'm going to say, real good, Joel. Game 5 tonight in Tampa Bay if the fans can find parking.
yeah, I don't even know if they're going to have that game tonight, right? Because
The plane landed, the teams are there. As far as the venue being ready, that's another story. But the last I heard, they were planning to play the game. So it'll be Game 5. Tampa Bay can close it out. Lightning can come up with their second Stanley Cup in the last 4 years. Hang the banner, Tampa Bay. Over to the NFL. Not too much news. Still July 21st, opening camp. Training camp opens, I should say. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence signed a $36.8 million 4-year contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll know more about the Aaron Rodgers situation as it comes.
yeah, and speaking of that, they asked him because they were mic'd up on the golf tournament or match yesterday, and I think Charles Barkley asked him while he was driving the cart. Chuck, yeah, he asked him about or someone did, I can't remember who, but they asked him if he was going to be playing for Green Bay, or he would not answer
He would
anything. He just kept smiling and driving.
So we shall see.
I think he likes the attention.
He's not a bad golfer.
He's a
I'll
good
tell you
golfer.
that.
I was surprised. He was way better than Tom Brady.
He had some
Yeah.
pretty good shots.
Matter of fact, they used his ball a few times because they were playing best ball.
I thought he was going to come on with the Brady magic. He started talking about the comeback, and here
Yeah.
we are with 3 to go, and they were like 2 down, and then they got that whole.
It was pretty cool because they were mic'd
But-
up and they're talking smack, and it was interesting.
Yeah, on that one hole.
Did you get to see it, Kumar? Yeah. Okay.
I didn't. No, unfortunately.
I got to catch a little bit of it. I got to see a bear and a coyote.
And he was only watching the first couple innings. Ian doesn't know much. He doesn't follow sports. So we always give him a hard time.
Someone hit one in the woods, and there was a bear there.
Yeah.
No,
I saw the
was being
bear.
serious. Yeah, I really saw that.
Go ahead, Joel.
Over in the MLB, in the American League East, we have the Boston Red Sox with a 4.5 game over the Tampa Bay Rays. In the Central, Chicago White Sox with a 6-game lead over the Cleveland Indians. Out west, Houston Astros lead the Oakland A's 3.5 games. Over in the NL, in the East, the New York Mets lead the Washington Nationals by 4.5 games. In the Central, Milwaukee has ran away from the Cubs. Mackey, what's going on with the Cubs? They have a 6-game lead over the second-place Cincinnati Reds now in the West. San Francisco holds a half-game lead over the LA Dodgers. The All-Star game coming up Tuesday, the 13th, out in Colorado. The Home Run Derby will be Monday. Favorites to win that would be Ohtani from the Angels and Pete Alonso from the Mets. I want to send out a special congratulations to the Mississippi State Bulldogs, who pulled off the College World Series ring. They won it all. Not an easy thing to do. Congratulations. Over in MMA, we have this weekend's UFC 264 main event. Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. Kumar, any comments on that one?
I was actually going to do like some predictions.
Yeah, let's go. You want to put some money on it?
Man, I always
Whoever
do
refs
terrible
is choosing, I'm choosing the other ones.
So, yeah, obviously the main event is Poirier versus McGregor. The main card is starting out with Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho. I think that's how you say it.
Spell it.
M-O-U.
Just kidding.
What'd you call me?
Yeah, so I don't know much about this Chris Moutinho guy, but I know
Chris.
a lot about Sean O'Malley, and he is always an exciting fighter, and he's been pretty successful so far. The odds of him winning are negative 835
Million to 1.
over, basically. Chris, who is at plus 525. And then next up, there's Irene Aldana and Yana Kunitskaya. And I'd have to say Irene Aldana probably going to win this. But I think it'll probably go the distance because Kunitskaya, she's pretty good as well. The odds are in Irene Aldana's favor, negative 125 over Kunitskaya at positive 100. And then...
So is Poirier the guy that you guys were talking about a few weeks ago that just bleeds all the time?
No, that's probably Nate Diaz.
That's Nate Diaz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the
Poirier
next
is
fight...
the one that beat Conor in the first round the last time they fought, but Conor beat him in the second round. And Conor beat him the first time when Conor was young. And but they acted like best friends the last fight. Like they're like promoted each other's like, oh, here's the proper 12 and here's my Tabasco sauce. And I'm like, I came to see a fight, not two kids playing on the playground. But
yeah, he
apparently
turns everything he does now into an advertisement, and like I mean his companies are all over the octagon. But
More fight. Less.
it'd be great if he got knocked out right on top of it.
yeah, I'm right there with you. Next up, though, we have Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy. Joel, I'm sure you know a little bit about Greg Hardy. He's kind of a controversial fighter.
Is he related to Jeff Hardy?
I think
Not
so.
quite.
Jeff and Matt?
Yeah.
I believe he was in the NFL and get ran out.
Yeah, he had some domestic problems, and so he got kicked out for that, out of the NFL. For
As
that.
in he can't travel? Like what kind of domestic issue?
Domestic terrorist.
Yeah, he can't travel on a truck, so
Unless he's in cuffs.
exactly. But so like Greg Hardy, he's a heavy hitter, pretty one-dimensional fighter. He can only really punch, and I mean if you can last a round with him, you can probably beat him. Tai Tuivasa is a little bit more well-rounded, so
He said that, Hardy, not me.
yeah, right. I'm not too sure about this one. I'm gonna go with Greg Hardy, just because
Because he's talking smack.
I think Tai Tuivasa could get knocked out pretty easily by Greg Hardy. Yeah. So and then
Wow, what a card.
well, almost there. Almost there. Next one is Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson. Stephen Thompson's a veteran. I'd probably have to go with him. And Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor.
We got Russ, Mr. Irish.
I might have to watch this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good card.
It's going to be good.
I'm going with Dustin Poirier, I hope, because...
If Conor loses, they're not going to let him fight again.
So Russ will
I hope
come
not.
to your house then for the fights?
When
He
is this
sells
fight?
so many tickets.
This weekend.
This
Saturday.
weekend. Okay.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, Conor just sells a lot of tickets, but I think his career is basically done.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he's
yeah,
going to
Dustin
box
Poirier.
after this. Isn't he going against Pacquiao? Isn't he fighting? He wants to fight Manny Pacquiao after this.
I think that's rumor. I don't know if that'll actually happen. I honestly, I don't.
I'll stay La Hoya. No, I'm kidding.
Oscar De La Hoya.
I was gonna say he wants to fight everybody.
I got him and Baker Mayfield mixed up last night.
We need to get Greg Summers. We need to get Greg Summers on the show. He listens. He's one of our drivers, and he loves boxing. He's not into MMA, but he can talk some boxing. Yeah.
Well, then I want to talk. I want
Don
him to
King
come
on
on to
the
talk
show.
about the Fury Wilder match.
He
That'd be
he
good.
told me he'll come on anytime. We can. When is that match?
It's July 24th. Not that I'm keeping
Okay.
track.
Maybe we can get him on
Yeah.
before that. We can talk about that with him. Zach, before we get on to the news, I wanted you to go over. We got a new guy, Gary.
Oh, yeah.
He's a referral and a friend of Lee's, and Zach wanted to go over what he did with him last week, and he had a pretty nice week. And he's back home, right?
Yeah, he's back home. So he started in Ringgold, and that just went away. There it is. Cool. Started in Ringgold, went up to Lovell, Wyoming. We thought we were going to go to orientation in Billings. Didn't happen, so we went from Billings to Phillips, Nebraska. $8,000 on a week.
Yeah, wasn't a bad week at all.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Had low hours, so we did a reset in Nebraska and then went back home.
yep. Cool. Well, Gary, welcome to our fleet. It's nice to have you. Lee speaks really highly of you. And Austin, are you there?
I am, yes.
So
the house.
I just wanted to introduce Austin, any of our drivers or anybody that I've mentioned a few times. He's been with us about a month or so now. He's our after hours dispatcher. Austin's got several years experience at it. So I just wanted to introduce him on the show. Austin, how's it going on nights?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Past few nights have been pretty steady. Obviously, you guys know last week and the week before we had some incidents that we resolved, but it's been pretty good this week.
Yeah. We do Christian, I remember telling you about it, but we do a call log, so every morning when we get in here before our 9 o'clock meeting, we can see what happened. And he,
passed down. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's done a fantastic job of just not only documenting everything, but emailing, keeps in good contact with anything that's going on. It was funny because I was doing the weekends for about 6 weeks before Austin, while we got him trained and before he got here. But and they were not too bad. I mean, it was a little bit here, maybe a check call here. It wasn't much. The first weekend, Austin, we turned the reins over to him on the weekends. He was totally slammed, and I think every weekend since he's been pretty busy, huh, Austin?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. The first and second weekend were definitely the worst. I sat at the desk for 2 days straight, pretty much.
Don't quit. Don't quit.
Yeah. Yeah, but
And I remember that because you introduced him the 1 week, and then the second week it was like all hell and rain on him, and I was like, oh my god! But he handled it really well. I was really shocked, and I joked, Austin. I don't know if this is true, but I said that you come from a really good bloodline.
Yeah, he is my nephew,
related
guys.
to Russ, but yeah.
He's adopted.
And
Yeah,
just so
I mean, Russ,
go ahead, Austin.
I was gonna say, Russ, you taught me pretty much everything I know. I mean, it's where I started, so.
Yeah, and he works remotely. He's my sister's son. He's in Clarksville, Tennessee. His dad was in the military and retired from the Army, and that was his last duty station. They moved back home after that to here for a couple of years, and but then they were used to Tennessee and they liked it, so they moved back. So he's been back there for a few years. So Austin works remote, but if in our fleet, you know how to get a hold of him. He's on every evening during the week, and every weekend, Saturday and Sunday till 10 to 10, he's answering the phone. And if he's going somewhere or doing something, he'll have his laptop with him. He can handle it. We do give him a weekend off, so he gets to let Ian or Carol or somebody know, and we'll cover 1 weekend a month, so he's not stuck on it every weekend. So we're trying. I felt bad though that it was so slow on the weekends until he started, and it's just been nonstop.
Thank you, Austin.
But you can handle it,
So
buddy.
Austin, can you tell us something about Russ that we don't know?
Probably.
Hey, I got it. He doesn't like to be waking up in the morning.
He'll Like sugar in his coffee.
Well, Russ is known in my family as Uncle Cowboy. That's something you probably don't know.
Uncle
Cowboy.
Cowboy.
There we go.
That's
Why
it.
is that?
I'm writing that down and changing your name on my phone.
Get the cowboy hat now.
I don't know where it started, but all my nieces and nephews call me Uncle Cowboy, and I think it was because I was driving a truck, and it actually Austin has some younger sister and a younger brother, and they were real little back in the day, and I was driving, and they only saw me once in a while, and I think it had something to do with the truck and being a truck driver. I don't know, but that's
Asphalt Cowboy.
They still call me Uncle Cowboy.
Now when I answer the phone, it's, well, hello there, cowboy.
There you go.
That's Mark Chavez.
You right. Huh?
Yeah.
That's
Well-
suspicious.
Thanks, Austin.
Wanted dead or alive.
Thanks, Austin. I'm probably not going to appreciate you letting everybody know that that's what
Austin,
they call
this
me.
is actually your last week. You're going to pack it up.
It'll probably never go away now, Austin, and but that's okay.
Oh, Austin,
Be
I
regular
just missed a call
anytime you
from
want.
Lee. Can you please give him a call?
You should make that a new segment. Things that we didn't know about Russ.
That's funny.
Be careful, that could turn on you too, Rev. Be
Oh,
very
yeah.
careful.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm an open book. I don't care.
Well, thanks, Austin. We appreciate it. We're going to get on to the news. And Ian, I think you had a couple guys that you wanted to go over, or a couple loads you wanted to talk about too before you hit the news.
Yeah. We can go into that. Let me figure out how to screen share here real quick.
Keyboard clicks everywhere.
Wow, screen share. There's the button. All right. So I just want to go over a couple loads that we ran this week. First one up that we had was a Rule Hall, North Carolina. I booked this morning going up to Huntington, West Virginia. It was only like 250 miles. We got 1,400 on it. We had something come up at the last minute. We had to fall off a Meadowlark load actually because the times wouldn't work out, and we snagged this up. So we're gonna run him short a couple of these loads and get him back home. But that one was like 540 a mile. Ignore the 50 some tabs I have open.
That was like a slot machine. Lines going everywhere.
It's going to take an hour to load.
We got.
I can't
hard
imagine
one to
why.
Pronounce. Prairie du. Ooh. Duchenne?
Excuse me.
It says something French, I'm guessing, to Piqua, Ohio. This is something that Mr. Mackey is under right now.
Oh yeah, he's coming in to go to breakfast with you in the morning. isn't he?
Yeah. 555 miles, nice 1950 on it. It's like 379 a mile. Next one we got is a reefer load. We had another thing kind of come up at the last minute, and I had a load for him going to Chicago. It canceled. I had to grab this real quick, and it actually worked out because it's putting him basically in the same town with Charlie up.
Oh yeah,
up
he
there
needed to
in
get to the
Michigan.
customer load
Mhm.
where he runs
Yeah.
for our customer every week.
858 miles, 3,100, 361 a mile. And then next one I wanted to really mention is a customer load that we picked up. This is what Jim's going to take out of Ohio. He's going to go from Mogadore, Ohio to Manhattan, Montana. When I first told him Manhattan, he wasn't very excited. And then
But he used to
mentioned the Montana
take
part.
swinging meat in there to Manhattan, just a different Manhattan.
In Brooklyn, Idaho.
Brooklyn, Idaho.
1,780 miles, $5,200, $295 a mile, and
And Jim's a drive-in, in case
Yeah.
anyone's wondering.
we always like to grab a Meadowlark customer load whenever we can. So, and then last couple ones I want to mention. Friday we had maybe it was Thursday. We had a cancellation at the last minute, we had another cancellation. We had to get our guy Lunchbox a flatbed load out of North Carolina. We ended up running him Colfax, North Carolina, with a couple stops going up to Manchester, New Hampshire. $3,700, $855 on the miles. It's like $1.32 a mile.
What was cool about that though, Ian? He sent us some pictures today.
Oh no, that's the next one.
Okay, go ahead.
That's the next one.
And we'll put these pictures up.
Yeah. These pictures are going to be from loading here in Danby, Vermont, going to Lithia Springs, Georgia. 1,100 miles, $2,500, $218 a mile. But what's interesting is he loaded out of a granite mine, and
yeah,
we all thought, he thought when he was pulling up there, it was just gonna be, like a loading outside, nothing out of the ordinary.
Like
but they actually took him down underground in a flatbed and loaded him down there. And
it looked cool. The pictures he sent.
These pictures are definitely
Kansas City cave.
Yeah.
Well, I got the screen share on here.
And before you get there, Joel just mentioned the Kansas City caves. And Joel, did you ever deliver there?
Yeah,
I did too.
There.
Yeah,
a wild place.
And it took me forever to back up in there because I had a studio sleeper T660. It was a little longer truck, and man, it's so tight in those caves.
Yeah,
and
the people working there were like in that movie They Live.
I got out. I got out probably 25 times just to get in there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was spooky.
It's
for
cool
sure.
though.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the news. While we were sitting here talking earlier in the show, we got an email from our safety department. CVSA is announcing that there is a safety week coming up, and they are going to be law enforcement around the country is going to be upped, and they're looking for speeding. So you triple-digit guys, slow it down.
Yeah, I don't think we have any of those guys, but
I wasn't talking to our guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and we mentioned
I'll
this.
tell my guys. Appreciate that memo.
Yeah.
No memo.
Other Christians, guys?
We mentioned this a few weeks ago. There's another blitz that I read about in August, so it'll be next month. But this following the 4th of July weekend, it seems like there's always one. Not only that, I think brakes are a big thing too. They're going to be looking at, but aggressive driving, not just in big trucks, but also for
driver behavior.
Yeah.
Last thing we really want to touch on today, this is Wednesday when we are recording, so I'm sure it'll be moved on when this podcast will come out. The Storm Elsa touchdown in Florida today. Zach, I know you said your mom got a lot of rain in Tampa.
Yep.
Mike Doty's our correspondent on the ground.
We haven't heard
He's actually
anything.
on the ocean.
He has no power and
Fishing from a swimming pool.
no contact. Yeah.
He might be on the bottom of the Gulf. We don't know.
Hope not.
That's supposed to be moving up into Georgia, obviously, then South Carolina, North Carolina, and up to you, Christian, in Virginia.
Basically a wind and rain event as it moves on in.
Yeah. So Friday, when this comes out, you're probably going to be getting some nice rain.
He's gonna miss the
Getting
code.
hammered.
Yeah.
And then only other thing that we really had on the news, Russ had found a really cool article. I'm sure you guys have heard that there's been some legislation going around trying to pay for transportation and infrastructure around the country, as things are not good. The roads are not great. And part of that is going to be a large study with drivers and carriers on what their delays are.
Detention at shippers and receivers.
Yep, and could be other things as well. But yeah, that's the main topic is detention. Yeah. There's been other studies done. They're saying that for-hire drivers lose $1.1 billion to $1.3 billion a year in detention. And that's something even in our office that we really try to strive for and work for our guys to get as much detention as possible.
Yeah.
After that 2-hour mark, we should be calling broker, letting them know what's
Emailing,
going on.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're there 8 hours, you should probably note that.
Well, and I think part of, and I don't know if you've read anything about this, Christian, but I think part of it too is they're doing this study, but it's part of this bill. So it's really a crackdown on shippers and receivers. If they get this through, they're talking about maybe a year, they're going to set up some regulations in shipping and receiving and that side of the business that you would regulate how much time you can hold a truck at your dock. So, that's going to kind of like, and this is a FMCSA thing. which
Yeah.
I'm all for because, I mean, it's something we all battle.
But just go get manpower.
Yeah, and I think especially since e-logs came into existence on a mandated level, we've all said, hey, look, something's got to be done about it. I'm more of a Reaganomics kind of guy. I don't believe that government intervention is the answer to our problems. I think that it's kind of a sticky wheel once they get in. What else is going to go on from that? I mean, does it? And
I'm with you there. I
agree. Something needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
Is that
a shipper and receiver? They don't care if your clock's running out or it's up.
Especially if their
they
guys
don't
aren't
care.
showing up.
And we all know who it is. It's these huge distribution centers, these very large companies, and
there
it's
needs
not
to be
even just
something because you
can show up, maybe at 2 hours late, and they say, oh, your next appointment is 2 weeks away.
Well, if we're so regulated on hours of service, there needs to be some type of regulation on those shippers and receivers on how long they can detain you or what, how long they can hold up your equipment.
Well,
it falls to a safety thing too.
I agree. I think that this is a two-part problem. The first part is, are the shippers and receivers paying? The second part is, if you're not working directly with that customer, you're not getting paid the full benefit of your waiting time. So when you sign an SSO agreement, like another three-letter RQL, if you sign a contract with them, you're signing your SSO saying, I'm okay with 150 layover, 250 max. We send over a lot of sheets that say, hey, we don't accept your terms, but here's what we do. So when TQL puts us on a load and they know it's going to a chicken house to load up a reefer, it's going to be there for 7-8 hours, they don't want to pay us $800. So they either ask to waive it or negotiate with it.
They always ask to waive it, yeah.
Yeah, they do ask, and you can say no and see what kind of bind they're in. But I think part of it is the due diligence of the carrier to push more carriers, small and mid-sized business, which make up like 80% of the workforce out here, really need to push the 3PLs because they're getting it from your customer. When I'm billing my customer, I'm getting the rates that you want as a carrier because generally I want to pass that along to you.
Well,
so
and
I do think it's a shipper.
I'm sorry, Christian, but those 3PLs. Yeah. Not every one of them. There's some really good ones out there that we have relationships with, but there are some, and it's an off company that we don't work with much, maybe, but that's three. But there are some that they have everything that they can do to drag their feet to keep that money rather than pay it to if it's a broker loader, and then the way to beat that is great communication night and day. If you're
like detained, Austin's documentation.
Absolutely.
Document as much as you can.
We've learned that a long time ago, and you've got to document it everything.
If you don't have those in and out times on the bills, don't even think about it.
Well, another thing too, what we do, Tina it builds all the loads that go out during the day. Austin does it at night. But so when putting dispatching drivers, she builds all the loads. She is meticulous on reading every line of everything, and she highlights it to us in our dispatch operations room and team and to the driver that, hey, these are all the steps we have to take if we want detention or if we want layover, and she makes sure we're all aware of it. So it starts there when we're getting those loads. And then we all are notified, not just us but the driver.
Yeah.
You should hire her to read Doty's weight tickets, cat scale tickets.
Yeah. What were you saying, Christian?
I was going to say that part of that's like JB Hunt has a different system than any. You have to call prior to 2 hours, and you have to get your detention PO through their system. And as opposed to Coyote, you call in, you make sure that you know who you're talking to, you give them the load number, the reference, that's documented, and get an email. I mean, so and it's different because it's much like states' rights. I mean, I'm a big states' rights fan, but we've got IFTA, we've got IRP in New York and HUT and all these other parameters. So it's a lot to keep up with as a small carrier, mid-sized business. There's not enough due diligence that'll cover it. I'm glad to see something's being done, but I'm never one to think that the government's the answer.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to fix it, but at least they're talking about something needs to be done.
Right.
In those areas with those shippers and receivers.
Is that part of that Invest Act that they're trying to get passed, or that got passed?
Is that it, Ian?
Yeah.
I think that is. Yeah. I thought.
Okay.
So.
Yes, it is.
Because another thing to add to that was that 5-year, $715 billion investment plan. There was a lot of things that were catalyst against the trucking industry in that. That VMT, the basically vehicle mileage tax. What we're finding is that the more electric cars go on the road, unless they can tax people at the fuel pump, they're going to find another way to do it. So they're going to basically say, hey, if you're driving on the road, you're going to have a tax. Now, I know there's a state out west that said, hey, we're going to tax the electrical vehicles for how many miles you run in our state. I don't know how they're going to keep up with it. And then, you and I talked before the show that Connecticut's got their weight-driven vehicle mileage tax, which was up to 17 cents a mile. As opposed to Kentucky, which is 3 cents a mile on a standard flat rate. New Mexico, Oregon, you have states that do have vehicle mileage taxes, New York, the New York cut. But we're talking about a 17 cent per mile increase, and it's done by weight. They're saying in their study that shows that 20,000 times the damage, that trucks cause 20,000 times the damage of a normal vehicle on a road. I don't know who did the study. I'd love to see the facts behind that of driving down the highway. But you have a partisan effort for one party to push through a lot of taxes on tractor trailers. You go into Connecticut, it's costing you 20 cents more a mile to drive. It's going to cost you that inside your groceries and everything else. So, and they're not the only ones that are doing it. There are other states that are coming up with vehicle mileage taxes because of the revenue shortfall.
Here in Ohio, this is something that we've had to deal with in my household. What they've done for electric vehicles or hybrids is they add on more of a charge to your tag when you renew it. So they added on another $100 because she has a hybrid, and if you have an electric car,
wife's?
they charge an extra $200 for your
I didn't know that.
on top of what your other fees already are. So,
well, in Virginia, one up that and said the heavier duty your pickup truck is, the more you're going to get charged. I don't know if you guys have that there, but if you're running a dump versus a 450 versus a 650 or a 150 Ford, your taxes is going to vary. Your taxes are going to vary
based on
due to that.
Yeah, based on the weight. I got to believe that big trucks, heavy, 80,000 pounds, do more damage. I would just common sense. You're going to do more road damage, but. None of us want to see, I'm willing to pay my fair share to have decent or fixed infrastructure. I just don't want to be gouged. Yeah.
Fix the roads and send me the bill, because typically what happens is you fund the project and everything
never
looks
gets done.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, guys, listen. Let's get on. Jim Mackey, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Ray, Mark Chavez.
Danport?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mark, your occupancy's been really bad
85650.
for a couple weeks. Good to see you're back out on the road. I like giving them a hard time.
85650.
Oh God,
that's suspicious.
But hey, let's get on with.
I've been out for what, 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, he took some. He had some.
2.5 months.
I'm only giving him a hard time. He's had some doctor's appointments. Everything's going good, so he's fine. He's back out on the road. But he had several appointments throughout the week, so he really couldn't move. But he's back in action, running strong. So Joel, let's 3, 4. Let's get on to questions with Kumar.
All right, ready for some questions, guys?
Who's that guy?
That's Chavi.
Hold on.
There we go.
Now we're safe. Thank you.
I'm in New Mexico, COVID capital of the United States.
All right.
Oh.
All right, guys.
He's parked. Everybody.
Getting that
he's getting some stuff
mid-trip
done.
inspection done. Yep.
Hey, don't
fall.
watch your pants. Remember what happened last time? Make sure the brakes are pulled.
Hey, pants are good.
3-point contact.
3 points of contact.
3 points of
That's his
contact.
underwear on his face.
3 points of contact.
No
there's
Applebee's
one.
today.
And if they have Applebee's, don't go in there.
Applebee's is
Two.
closed down.
We got to keep on him.
3.
All right, so listen, Jim Mackey and Chavi and Ray, let's go. Joel, you got the questions for Kumar
Guys,
this week?
are you ready for this?
Let's
Here we
go.
go. We got 4 questions and a
Let's
tiebreaker.
go, Kumar. My wife's rooting for you.
Kumar, you there, buddy?
Yes, sir. I'm
He's here. All
Kumar
right,
Speed.
guys, here we go. How much space must you maintain between yourself and another commercial motor vehicle if you're traveling at more than 35 miles per hour? A, 100 feet. 2, 200 feet. 3, 300 feet.
I remember this.
4, 500 feet.
From truck driving school.
How much space, Kumar, must you maintain between yourself and another commercial?
Come on, Joey.
Are you frozen or just a bit?
All right.
Are you doing a bit right now?
Sorry.
Did you get distracted?
Yeah, I did.
Joel, that was
I
the
heard
driest question we have asked on this.
Hey, it gets better.
Can you go over that once more? A little faster?
A, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, how many feet of space should you keep between you and another tractor trailer on the highway?
If you're traveling at more than 35 miles
If you're
per hour.
over more than 35.
Thank you,
Well, those things got really good brakes.
Salt
Right?
All
and
right.
pepper in it.
So B. Okay, go ahead. Go with the answer.
A 100, B 200, C 300, D 500 feet. 35 miles per hour, Coom.
B or A. 100.
When we say Ray, what
Ray.
do you say, guys?
Jim,
That's how you know you're wrong.
I'm gonna say B, 200.
Oh
you could take him off. He's froze.
yeah.
Is everybody
Well,
getting
no,
the
he's
mic?
just
Is
something smells. That's why
It
he's
smells
doing that.
real bad.
Yeah,
He's smelling his underwear.
There we go.
what do you say, Jim? How many over 35 on the highway? How many feet of space?
300.
300. Chavez says 3. Ray said what?
200.
200.
Yep.
200.
I said
Kumar said
200. Joel asked me the question right before the show, and I got it right. And I remember that from truck driving school. Way to go, Ray.
Yeah, that was my first answer, but
Yeah.
I was right.
I didn't go
Should
there.
have kept it.
1-0, my guys.
Sorry about that, Christian. Always your first instinct.
Yeah.
That was a lucky, that was a lucky guess on my part.
All right, that was kind of a boring question, but I asked you guys to send in questions. No one did, so expect a boring question. All right, question 2. Guys, you hear a loud bang and realize a steer tire has just blown out. What should you do? A, grab the wheel tightly, speed up to the stop. A, grab the wheel tightly, speed up to stop the side force and regain control, bringing to a gradual stop. B, grab the wheel tightly, slow down to stop the side force and regain control and bring to a gradual stop. C, grab the wheel tightly and steer for the ditch. D, pray.
D was pray.
Pray.
Oh, okay.
Pray love.
I thought you said fray. I'm like, what's a fray? Okay, go over the first two again.
This first one was grab the wheel tightly and speed up.
4 questions.
Okay,
to get to the.
I'm gonna say A. That's the one I was looking for.
And B was grab the wheel tightly and slow down.
To
and
stop the side force and regain control.
What do you guys
Bring
say?
To a gradual
Ray, he
stop.
said A. He said
okay,
speed
so
up.
the answer, the answer that he said was grab the steering wheel tightly.
And
Yep, speed up to stop.
I didn't hear
Not
the
speed up,
question.
but slow down, gain control, and move over to the shoulder. And also brake.
That's what I would say, and I don't know the answer. What do you say, Jim Mackey?
I would say slow down, of course, but
Yeah.
you have to speed up to gain control. So you can't slow down too fast.
Very good.
You can't slow down too fast. You have to
That's
kind
right.
of speed up a little bit to keep control of the vehicle.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's been doing it longer than anybody here.
I didn't get a
says.
chance to hear the question.
Okay.
What was the question?
It was if
All right, if you hear a loud bang, and so your steer tire blew out, what should you do? Grab the wheel tightly and speed up to stop the side force and regain control. Bring to a gradual stop. Grab the wheel tightly, slow down to stop the side force and regain control, and bring to a gradual
so
stop.
it's basically out of those two. The other one was pray.
Yeah,
or take
that one.
Right.
I'm
that's
going with
right.
brake.
That last one that Joe said.
Ray, you would.
So would
Grab
you
the
slow
steering
down
wheel firmly,
and slow
slow
down?
and then
Okay, so
grab the wheel tightly and then slow down.
So Ray and I and Mark said the same thing. Jim Mackey said the same as Kumar. I'm curious, Joel.
Speed up.
So,
He said-
who said speed up?
Well, Kumar did, and so did Jim Mackey, because Jim said you got to speed up a little to get control.
That's right. So they're saying the correct answer is A. You have to speed up to stop the side force to regain control.
One
So-
to one.
I win.
I mean, if you can think about all that when your tire blows,
Wow.
just speed up.
And even though Jim Mackey
I'm
did get
thinking
that,
about saving
we don't
the
get the
rim,
point
too.
because my other guys didn't. And
Yeah.
if Kumar
Yeah,
gets it,
yeah,
you
that's,
know.
that's his point. That's his point.
Oh, if I'm doing 70 miles an hour
if-
and my steering tire blows, I should go to 80.
Drive 170.
When in doubt,
Atlas?
throttle out.
No, Jim, explain what you were saying
go
again.
neutral.
I get it, Mackey.
You have to maintain your speed
Yes.
and not allow it to slow you down.
You
You
fo-
have to
roll
slow
over,
the
that's right.
vehicle on your own.
Yeah.
If you slow down, it's like hauling swinging meat. If you slow down fast, and it's going to throw you, but you have to maintain your speed and slow down gradually to keep control of the vehicle.
All right, good stuff. That was the point of the question.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Jim.
All right.
Good answer,
I
Jim.
learned something new.
Yeah.
100 Hail Marys, Ray. All right. Question Question 3. To what do you line up your fifth wheel opening when coupling a tractor and trailer? A, the trailer's apron plate. B, the trailer's kingpin. C, the loading dock. D, the flagman.
Kumar.
Kumar, you're backing your bobtail up to the trailer. To what do you line up your fifth wheel opening when coupling?
Read the answers again.
Yeah, give me the answer.
Is that the trailer's apron plate, the trailer's kingpin, the loading dock, or the flagman?
The flagman. Or no, not yet.
Have you ever coupled a bobtail?
Do you know what a bobtail is?
Yes. Yes. The kingpin. Final answer.
All right,
Wiggle
guys.
wagon.
The wiggle wagon.
Flag. All right.
He's right.
Yeah, good job.
He's right.
I'm right?
I know
Yeah.
my guy's
He's right.
right.
He's right.
He's right.
You always
Don't
line
need
it
to
up.
put that any further.
He almost said the flagman, though.
Yeah, well, I had to think about what the fifth wheel might have been. So
Yeah. The landing gear crank.
That's over 5.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
All right, so 2-1 Kumar.
But Kumar, do you know this?
And Kumar, there's 20 in the pot that Ray threw in for this week.
nice.
Oh,
So,
but I think that's all the time we have for tonight, guys.
This is a short one. Kumar, true or false? Texarkana is in both Texas and Kansas.
Great question.
Oh man.
Wait a minute.
True or Zach? Listen,
I don't
true or
like
false.
I don't
I
like the
got
way
it.
Christian is looking right now.
Texarkana is in both Texas and Kansas.
Good news is you got 50%.
False.
Wait.
Texas, Montana, and the other one. Wait,
this
no,
is getting interesting.
No. So true or false? The city of Texarkana is in both Texas and Kansas.
I was trying to be clever.
Texarkana is a city. Is it in both Kansas and Texas? Is that why they call it that? True or false?
False. It can't be in both Texas.
Are you looking at a map, Kumar?
Wow. That was a stupid question. False.
It took 5 minutes. He found the map of the United States?
I was
All
trying
right,
to figure it out.
It's a pretty big city.
So Ray, you want to explain a little bit about where Texarkana is? Because I think this went over his head, even though he got it right.
Well, I don't know if there is a Texarkana in Kansas, but there
Kansas
is
is
one
in
in
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
There's not.
It's Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Texarkana
Arkansas.
borders the state of Texas and Arkansas. So, yeah,
It's
you
right
have
It's right on the line.
Texarkana. Yeah, you have
Okay.
Texarkana, Texas, and Arkansas as well.
Joel was trying to throw you off on the Kansas part.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we
Great,
thought
too.
you might go
Yeah.
with true on that. It's 3-1. Do we have?
he thought
I think
about
we
it.
have
That's
two.
I thought there was only 4 questions.
Oh, we have one more
Oh,
question.
well, Kumar, true or false? You need a permit to haul sailboat fuel.
That's false. The sailboats don't use fuel.
Oh, wow.
He's getting smarter.
than he looks.
I got one more if you need it.
I get it now. Throw me another curveball.
Throw him the
on
last
his A
curveball.
game
Go
today.
ahead.
Been studying.
He's got a good week going this week.
All right. In some trucks, there is an APU. What does that stand for?
Oh God.
Oh.
Don't say anything, guys. Let's see if he knows it.
Well, I already won.
So what is AP?
I wanted the 16th hole.
Hey, this one's for $20.
This
Me and
question
you.
alone?
Yeah, so he's already won 20, so we're betting 20 now.
APU.
Hey, can you give them the first word?
Okay.
Auxiliary.
Okay.
What does APU stand for, on a truck, and the first word is auxiliary.
Auxiliary pressure unit.
Did
I get it?
No.
Oh,
It was a good try, though. It's
You
auxiliary
made me
power
proud.
unit.
I'm very proud.
Oh,
Power
okay.
unit.
Yeah.
Power. Okay.
Extra credit.
Nice job this
You know
week,
what that is?
Kumar. I think this is your best week.
Yeah.
Week
No.
14.
The
is
first guy
best
to get
week.
paid off of this show, too.
Yeah, he's getting paid. $20.
Well, I thought we're just rolling it every week, and then at the end of the year,
Christmas time we'll have a
find out
giant
whether he
jackpot.
owes into the pot or he gets
You
it.
could do that. You want to just roll it, Kumar?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Red or black at the end
So
of the...
Ray rolled 20. That's 20 from me.
We'll have a
20
poker.
from Ray. That's 40 for next week.
Sounds like a
Someone keep
poker
track
game
of
to
that.
me.
I'm glad I'm on Kumar's team, guys.
We're gonna let that pot hit 150 billion, like the Texas lottery.
Like hot dogs?
The lottery.
Hey, Jim Mackey, how
Hot
was
dogs.
you had a nice
Wait a minute.
almost a week off with your mom. How'd everything go? You guys watched a lot of baseball?
Of course, we had to watch them every day. Some days when there wasn't a live game, we had to watch one from 2004.
She likes watching reruns.
The way they're playing, he'll be pitching for him. So.
Well, we still watched them, but yeah, I had a good time.
Yeah,
Went to
that's
see
good.
my aunt in Clinton. I got to rebuild her bathroom for her, so that's my next project.
Did you get the irrigation thing that you was set up for your mom, and then something happened to it? Did you get that set back up, or she?
Oh
doing
yeah,
something?
we got the garden going. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
the tomatoes are growing like you wouldn't believe. I've never seen them grow as fast and as well as they did. But yesterday when I left, I noticed the Japanese beetles had come in and started working on the beans pretty hard. So I tried to get rid of them, but
Pretty good band.
I don't know how that's working out.
This is the year of the cicada, right? Ian's our bug guy. He's our entomologist, I think is what you call him.
Yes, it is.
The
to do pest
cicada brood 10 is not around here in Ohio. It's southwestern Ohio, parts of Maryland. I think Virginia. Did
And
you get
Indiana.
any over by you this year?
Missouri also.
Yeah, they're by us.
Missouri has a lot of
Mostly up-
cicadas.
Yeah, up 81,
Those are
West
Yeah.
Virginia, Northern
Yeah.
Virginia. That area's bad.
Yeah, we won't have our 17-year one for I think at least another decade.
So it's like a brood, is what you called it.
Yeah, these
17 year.
different broods of these 17-year cicadas have their own
So there's
locations.
the
of where they
17-year
are.
locust, basically. There's a brood every year. It just depends on where you're at. But
There's
that
also
brood,
a 13-year, and there's also ones that come out every year.
Yeah.
So.
So anyone that has any bug questions, just call Ian 555-330-555-1212.
What was the movie with the scarecrow, the 23 years? What was that?
Yeah.
Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, I also take history questions too. Selby called me. He was up in Wisconsin, and there was a German POW camp, and he had no idea that we had other countries' soldiers here in the U.S. in work camps. So I informed him about that too.
Yeah, and Selby, I bet you he was
know that.
interested because
Yeah,
he
he
loves it.
definitely was.
He loves stuff like that. Yeah.
Ian is
just won't go there.
Cliff Clavin.
Yeah. That's a character on Cheers, the show Cheers.
Oh,
That was
Yeah,
Norm.
the guy.
before our time.
It was Cliff that had a lot of.
Everybody's supposed to know their name. I heard.
Yeah.
Like the encyclopedia.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Mark Chavez, glad to see you're all good. Got those doctor's appointments behind you, and you're back on the road. I'll probably see you here at the terminal soon. I know you like to come through here before you make that round back to California.
Oh yeah.
Jim Mackey, as always, thanks for joining us and bringing that wealth of 50 years on the road experience to the Trucking Questions with Kumar and nailing that one.
And we will see you tomorrow for breakfast.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, Jim. And
I will be there.
before
I'll see
we
you
go there,
Saturday.
and Ray, that was a pretty. I don't know if you saw it, Ray. You might have been out of the truck, but the picture of you in the river with when you were exploring. Okay,
I
sent-
I saw that. I couldn't respond though because I was
Oh,
signing
okay.
paperwork.
Yeah, I sent it to your wife too. She got a kick out of that one too.
Yes.
So
She traded for Modelo.
Yeah, but Ian didn't put up the pictures of the mine of the guy that picked up the load in the mine.
Oh, it'll be up when the
We
show
never got
comes out on Friday. So Matthew, my son Matthew's not here tonight.
Okay.
He's on vacation. We got to get through all these vacations, man. Everybody's going on vacation. But that will be up on the show. And before we get off to some of these shout outs and get out of here, Christian, I had mentioned about Louisiana. Charlie had asked me about that. So you got something on that?
Yeah, I've got something on it here. I'll share this up real quick. You should be able to see it now.
Yeah.
Okay. So here are the indexes. We talked about Louisiana. Specifically, what we're going to look at is Shreveport. This first column is the van outbound tender rejection. I went with van because that's what I assumed he was in. And I categorized it by value of change. So you look at the top percentages of rejections. Shreveport is the fourth highest of all of the territories that they grade throughout the country, with a 47. Whoops, there it is. Sorry about that. New mouse. 47.79% rejection, which is a change of a 1.32, which is 2.8% of the total market. Looking at it from a monthly standpoint, if you're in Louisiana, it's better to be the north side. Baton Rouge and further north, and not down there partying in the south. So they have lost a significant amount of volume in the last 30 days, but it has actually not really changed their rejection. So the rejections have gone up, even though the volume has gone down. So hopefully, Charlie, that answers your question. And here is last basically 2.5 weeks. They were basically on the 25th of last month at about a 42% rejection, and it peaked up to about 48.5. Then we had the holiday with the downfall here, and it's probably going to go back up towards 48, 49% rejections for Shreveport, Louisiana. And if you're looking at rejections, you can tell that this is much like Iowa and some parts of Georgia, which is the hottest section of the country, giving a 42 to 47% rejection rate, depending on where you're at. Oh, look at that.
Texarkana.
That's
not
crazy,
in
isn't
Kansas anymore.
No, not in Kansas anymore. So I hope that answered the question, and feel free to write with any more. I got a couple guys through YouTube that write down questions. So.
Yeah, and guys, this is our 14th episode. It seems like yesterday when we started this, and I was thinking back, it's been almost 4 months.
Well, look out, Simpsons.
I appreciate everybody's hard work on this. We don't do this for money. We do this to keep in touch with our fleet. Christian does it with us to keep in touch with his fleet, and for us as a team to work together. But we're killing it on Spotify. We love doing this. I look forward to it. Carol makes fun of me because she runs through here on Wednesday mornings. She's our office manager, and she's like, the show, and it's just becoming part of us now. And let's go. Let's keep it going. Let's ride. We're not going anywhere. And so like and subscribe and share it. It's only going to get bigger. A couple shout-outs before we get out. Truckworx, Kenworth of Dothan, Alabama. Brian, we appreciate you. Over-the-road apparel, work clothes for the modern-day trucker. Prime Wellness and Performance in San Antonio, Texas. And, Christian, if you got anything you want to say, anyone you want to shout out to before we get out of here?
No, just, the guys, some of them starting to call and understand that Wednesdays are payroll, and then it's podcast.
Yeah.
So, they very much enjoy it. Those guys that are logging in and enjoying them really kind of clear my desk. So just a thanks to the team that we get a couple hours to prep to come on. I love it. And I appreciate the fact that you guys invite me to be a part of it.
Yeah. It's great.
When are we coming down there?
We were talking about this week, but we got to nail it down because
Ian's gone for 2 weeks.
Ian's going on vacation, and we got to get through the vacations.
And then I'm out.
He's actually going to Montana. Ian's going hiking at where?
Yeah.
Play some golf.
Glacier National Park, and then going to the Badlands.
Yeah, he and his wife are going. They do a lot of hiking, so they're going out there. And then you said you're going to stop by the corporate office at Meadowlark and see everybody while you're out there, so that'll be really cool.
I might go and try and get a couple of T-shirts or something,
Yeah, get some Meadowlark swag.
Get
is
some
that what they call it?
Some hats.
Oh, yeah, the hats are cool.
Bear spray.
I got
take some bear maze with you.
Give me another hat.
I do
and
have
it's made by OTR Apparel. If anybody?
Yeah, definitely. But hey, guys, thanks, and I'm just excited where we're going with this show. So until next week, and don't worry, we'll cover for Ian. We'll probably have Jim. Oh, we'll have Coom sit at the Ian desk, or
I'll get
maybe,
the news.
Maybe Jim Mackey can sit at the desk one of those weeks. He'll be gone for 2. We got it. All right, guys. With that said, have a great week.
Yeah, be safe.
Go Browns, go Indians, and go
Be safe out there,
Cavaliers.
everybody.
I almost forgot my teams. And by the way, 20 days till training camp.